Let's get right into it. Number 8. The compulsion to cocoon. You've probably felt it, that inexplicable urge to dive headfirst into a pile of blankets. Pull the covers over your head and pretend the world outside simply ceases to exist. Or perhaps you're a fort builder at heart, meticulously arranging couch cushions and throw pillows into a makeshift sanctuary that, let's be honest, wouldn't deter a curious housefly, let alone an actual threat. This isn't just about comfort, folks. Oh no, this is the compulsion to cocoon, a bizarre human instinct that whispers sweet nothings about safety while simultaneously trapping you in a self-made fabric prison. Think about it. You construct this elaborate hideaway, perhaps under a desk or crammed into the back of a closet, and for a fleeting moment, you feel utterly secure. But then, the realization dawns you've just voluntarily entered a space where escape would be, at best, an awkward scramble, and at worst, a full-blown entanglement with an errant throw blanket. It's like your lizard brain, bless its cotton socks, hasn't quite grasped the concept of fire safety or the general inconvenience of being stuck in a textile sarcophagus. It just sees small, enclosed space and thinks, prime real estate for existential dread and maybe a nap. You're basically a human hermit crab, constantly searching for a shell, even if that shell is made of last week's laundry and a sense of impending claustrophobia. Number 7. The wardrobe wilderness. Ever found yourself in a crowded room, feeling a sudden, primal need to disappear, and then, inexplicably, your eyes land on the nearest wardrobe, closet, or even a suspiciously large potted plant, and a tiny, deranged voice in your head screams, "In here, this is where you belong." Welcome to the wardrobe wilderness, where your fight or flight response takes a sharp left turn into hide and seek gone terribly wrong. This isn't about logical evasion, it's about a deep-seated, almost comedic instinct to vanish into the most impractical of hiding spots. You might squeeze yourself behind a rack of outdated formal wear, convinced you're now invisible, while simultaneously being acutely aware that if anyone did open the door, you'd be tumbling out like a very confused, slightly dusty human bowling ball. It's the mental equivalent of a toddler covering their eyes and thinking no one can see them. Except you're an adult, and your chosen camouflage is a collection of forgotten winter coats. Your brain, in its infinite wisdom, seems to prioritize the feeling of being hidden over the actual act of being unfindable. So the next time you consider using a coat rack as a personal panic room, remember, your instincts are weird, and your escape route is likely to involve a dramatic faceplant into a pile of shoes. Number 6. The Bathtub Bunker. Picture this. The world outside is a chaotic symphony of demands, deadlines, and decisions, and suddenly, an irresistible urge pulls you towards the bathroom. Specifically, towards the bathtub. You might even find yourself curled up in it, fully clothed, perhaps with a throw pillow or two for maximum bunker chic. This, my friends, is the Bathtub Bunker, a peculiar manifestation of our desire for unescapable solace. Now, a bathtub is, by its very design, a receptacle. It's meant to hold water, not terrified humans seeking refuge from their own lives. Yet, there you are, nestled in its porcelain embrace, convinced that the smooth, unforgiving surface somehow offers protection from the harsh realities of existence. Your brain, in a moment of pure, unadulterated genius, decides that the perfect hiding spot is a slippery, enclosed space with no clear exit strategy other than a rather undignified climb. It's almost as if your subconscious believes that if you just lie very still in a giant ceramic bowl, all your problems will simply drain away. Spoiler alert, they don't. But hey, at least you'll be prepared for an impromptu, fully clothed bath, should the need arise. It's a desperate plea for a personal safe space, even if that space is designed for sods and rubber duckies, not existential crises. Number 5. The under-desk deception. Have you ever found yourself in the middle of a particularly draining workday, surrounded by ringing phones and incessant keyboard clicking, when a bizarre urge overtakes you? Not the urge for coffee or a quick cat nap, but the sudden, undeniable pull to contort your body into a pretzel-like shape and cram yourself under your desk. This, my friends, is the under-desk deception. It's your brain's peculiar interpretation of a safe haven, a place where the fluorescent lights can't quite reach you, and the demands of adulting magically dissipate. Never mind that your knees are practically touching your chin, or that every slight movement sends a cascade of discarded paper clips raining down on your head. In this moment, the confined, dusty space beneath your workstation feels like an impregnable fortress. Your brain has essentially regressed to childhood, Mistaking out of sight, out of mind for actual, impenetrable invisibility, it's a prime example of our instinct to seek out enclosed spaces for comfort, even when those spaces offer zero practical escape routes and a high probability of backaches. You're basically a professional office hermit crab, convinced that the best way to deal with the overwhelming tide of responsibilities is to scuttle into a dark, uncomfortable nook, and just like a hermit crab, you'll eventually have to emerge, probably with a few new dust bunnies clinging to your hair. Number 4. The blanket burrow bind. Imagine a scenario. You're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or just plain done with the world, and without conscious thought, you find yourself meticulously constructing a kind of fabric fortress around yourself, using every blanket, duvet, and stray throw pillow within arm's reach. Welcome to the blanket burrow bind, where your primal urge for security manifests as a self-imposed textile trap. This isn't just about getting cozy, it's about actively creating a space so utterly impenetrable by external stimuli that even a sudden phone call feels like an invading army. You pile on the layers, crafting a sort of soft-walled cave, and for a blissful moment, you feel utterly insulated. But then, the reality sets in. You're essentially mummified in flannel and fleece. Movements are restricted, and if you suddenly need to, say, grab a glass of water, the entire carefully constructed edifice threatens to collapse, leaving you flailing like a beached whale in a sea of polyester. Your brain, in its infinite wisdom, equates being physically restricted with being emotionally protected, completely overlooking the logistical nightmare of extricating yourself from your self-made fabric prison. It's the ultimate irony. You crave freedom from the world, so you deliberately entrap yourself in a warm, fluffy, completely unescapable cocoon. Number 3. The Car Corner Conundrum. You're stuck in traffic, the urban jungle roaring outside your windows, and suddenly, your gaze lands on the space between your car seat and the door, or perhaps even the footwell, an inexplicable urge to curl up there, to somehow become one with the vehicle's interior, washes over you. This, my friends, is the Car Corner Conundrum. It's the bizarre instinct to seek refuge in the most impractical and, frankly, uncomfortable nooks of your automobile. Your rational brain knows that if you were to actually try to fit, you'd likely end up with a crick in your neck and a dashboard imprint on your forehead. Yet, that tiny, illogical part of your mind whispers, "This is it. This is your safe space. No one can get to you here, especially not that aggressively honking taxi driver." It's like your internal fight or flight mechanism has decided that the best defense is to simply cease being a discernible human shape within the confines of your own car. You're essentially attempting to play a very uncomfortable game of automotive hide and seek, convinced that if you just scrunch down enough, the world outside will forget you exist. The irony, of course, is that you're in a metal box on wheels, already quite contained, yet your brain still yearns for an even more enclosed, utterly unescapable, and frankly, ridiculous hiding spot. Number 2. The laundry basket labyrinth. It's been a long day. The demands of existence are pressing down on you. And then, there it is. A mountain of clean laundry, fresh from the dryer, beckoning. Instead of folding it, you find yourself eyeing the empty laundry basket. And then, before you know it, you're attempting to fold yourself into its plastic confines, perhaps even pulling a stray sock over your head for good measure. Behold, the laundry basket labyrinth. This isn't about being tidy, it's about a deep, absurd desire to re-enter a womb-like state. Even if that womb is made of perforated plastic and smells faintly of fabric softener, your brain, in its infinite quest for comfort, has somehow decided that a container designed for dirty clothes is the perfect sanctuary from the trials of daily life. Never mind that it's probably too small, highly uncomfortable, and if anyone walks in, you'll look like a giant, confused baby who's had a terrible accident. The appeal lies in the sheer, unescapable enclosure. The idea that if you cram yourself into this mundane object, the outside world simply ceases to apply. It's the ultimate act of retreat. A desperate attempt to metaphorically pull the plug on reality by wedging yourself into a receptacle meant for discarded socks. Number 1. The underbed abyss. You've had a nightmare. Or perhaps just a particularly stressful day that feels like one. You're in your bedroom, the supposed sanctuary, but it doesn't feel safe enough. And then, the inexplicable gravitational pull begins towards the dark, dusty, and often surprisingly cramped space under your bed. This is the underbed abyss, the pinnacle of our bizarre instinct to hide in places from which escape is, at best, a graceful roll, and at worst, a tangled wrestling match with forgotten monster toys. Your rational mind screams, there's nothing here but dust bunnies and potential spider families. Yet, your primal brain, in its infinite wisdom, sees a low ceiling and darkness and thinks, ultimate security. It's a return to childhood instincts where monsters lurked under the bed. And therefore, paradoxically, under the bed became the ultimate hiding spot from the monsters. The irony is delicious. You're seeking safety in the very place your younger self feared most. And in doing so, you voluntarily entered a space where getting out requires more effort than facing whatever real-world problem sent you there in the first place. It's the ultimate ironic hideout. A self-imposed, dusty, and often claustrophobic purgatory, all in the name of feeling safe. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.